I know everyone says it is, but it's not. You're not just tired. You're drained. Like somebody's been slowly siphoning your life force through a tiny invisible straw for years, and you've just accepted it. You've got the body of a functioning adult, but the battery life of a 2012 iPhone. And here's the messed up part. No one talks about it. No one stops and goes, hey, maybe the fact that we all feel dead inside by noon is a problem? No, we slap coffee on it, scroll past it, throw a little inspirational quote at it like a band-aid on a bullet wound, and keep going. You're not burnt out because you're weak. You're burnt out because you've been on fire for years trying to light everyone else's candles while yours melted into a puddle somewhere in 2019. This isn't just being busy. This is soul-level exhaustion. This is brushing your teeth while scrolling TikTok because silence is terrifying now. This is feeling nothing during moments that should have made you cry or laugh or feel something, but you're just blank. You doom scroll until 3 a.m. Not because you care about the news, but because your brain is terrified of stillness. Because stillness feels like confrontation. And who has the energy for that, right? You answer, I'm good every time someone asks, even when you're not, especially when you're not. Because if you admit how numb or angry or tired or empty you really are, it might unravel everything. You've been holding your world together with duct tape and delayed emotions, and the last thing you need is someone tugging on the thread. You call it adulting. I call it self-abandonment in a pantsuit. And no one teaches you how to fix it. They teach you how to be productive, efficient, how to grind, how to monetize your hobbies. Turn your free time into a side hustle. Don't rest. Optimize. You've got Kim Lean open tabs in your brain at all times. You forgot what peace feels like. The only time you breathe deeply is when your phone dies and you're forced to look out the window like it's 2003. Here's a hard truth. Some of you aren't depressed. You're just overstimulated. Your nervous system is fried. Your energy isn't gone. It's being robbed. Constantly. By your notifications. By fake urgency. By people who drain the life out of you with a smile. By that little voice in your head whispering, you should be doing more, while you're literally hanging on by a thread. And the worst part? You've gotten used to it. You've normalized it. You've made your burnout your personality. You joke about it, post memes about it, laugh through it. But behind that sarcasm is a person who can't remember the last time they felt rested, inspired, or genuinely excited about anything. You call it a funk, a rough patch, a bad mental health week. But let's be real, this isn't a phase. This is your life. And something has to change because if you don't, if you keep letting these silent little energy thieves walk in and out of your soul unchecked, you're going to wake up 10 years from now and realize you've been surviving, not living. You'll look in the mirror and not recognize the version of you who stopped dreaming, stopped feeling, stopped showing up. And no, I'm not here to sell you a morning routine or a magic journal or a meditation app with rainforest sounds. I'm here to tell you the truth. Your exhaustion is not weakness. Your numbness is not failure. Your burnout is not your identity. It's a warning sign, a blinking red light on the dashboard of your life. And if you ignore it long enough, your body will eventually make you stop. So before we go any further, take a second. Breathe. Like actually breathe. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. Feel that? That tiny flicker of awareness? That's the version of you that's still in there. Still alive, still fighting. We're not going to lose that version. Not today, not on my watch. Let's talk about who's been stealing your energy like it's an open bar. You ready? Chapter 2, the 5 energy thieves you invite in. All right, so let's get brutally honest. There are 5 main energy thieves in your life. And the worst part, you're not just letting them in, you're handing them the keys, making them tea, and asking if they need extra pillows. Let's start with the first one. 1. People pleasing. Oh yeah, this one's juicy. You say yes when you want to say hell no. You go to brunches you hate, reply to texts you resent, smile through favors that feel like soul debt, and call it kindness. But let me tell you something. Sacrificing your peace to keep someone else comfortable, that's not kindness. A tiny piece of your energy packs its bags and walks out. And the messed up part? Half the people you're bending over backward for wouldn't notice if you stopped. You're playing the role of dependable so well you forgot you weren't born to be a damn emotional butler. You think keeping everyone else happy will finally let you rest. But all it does is empty you faster. 2. Fake productivity. Oh look, your calendar's full. Your to-do list is color-coded. You've got apps for your apps. You're doing things, but you're not moving forward. You're organizing the deck chairs on the Titanic. You clear your inbox, but avoid your dreams. You rewatch productivity YouTubers, like it's gospel, but haven't taken one real action toward that thing that actually matters to you. Because productivity feels safer than purpose. If you look busy, you don't have to feel lost. You don't have to face the fact that maybe, just maybe, you're terrified of starting. So you stay stuck in the illusion of motion, burning energy to avoid your real work. Constant comparison. This one's a soul killer dressed as motivation. You open Instagram and suddenly your life feels like a low-budget trailer for someone else's blockbuster. That girl from high school is traveling the world. That guy you dated now owns a gym and has abs that look photoshopped. And you? You're eating cold leftovers in your pajama pants, wondering where you went wrong. But here's the catch. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. They don't post the crying on the bathroom floor nights. They don't post the panic attacks, the doubt, the debt. And still, you measure your worth against their filter. You let their curated lives drain your real one. Comparison is the thief of joy. But no one tells you it also robs your energy. Because every time you scroll and silently shrink, a part of you stops showing up. Unspoken resentment. You ever walk around with this heavy, invisible weight? That's not tiredness. That's resentment you never said out loud. You let people cross your boundaries. You say, it's fine when it's definitely not fine. You swallow your truth so often you're emotionally constipated. You think keeping the peace is noble. But bottling up anger just turns you into a walking pressure cooker with a smile. And every unspoken truth leaks energy. It festers. It loops in your head. It keeps you up at 2 a.m. replaying that one moment you should have spoken up but didn't. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you're carrying 47 unsent text messages in your soul. 5. Clutter. Yeah, I said it. The mess is draining you. Not just the pile of laundry that's now a piece of furniture. Not just the 37 open tabs on your browser or the 12,000 unread emails you pretend don't exist. But also the mental clutter. The unmade decisions. The half-started projects. The constant noise in your space and your mind. Clutter whispers, you're behind. Clutter reminds you of everything you haven't done. Clutter pulls your attention in 100 different directions until your brain just shuts down and chooses Netflix. And you sit there, half watching, half scrolling, fully exhausted. Because chaos, even silent chaos, is loud. Look, I'm not here to judge you. I'm you. I've been you, drowning in commitments I never wanted, running on fumes while pretending I'm fine, losing pieces of myself to things I thought were just part of life. But here's the truth. These aren't small leaks. They are full-blown holes in your soul's gas tank. And you've been driving with warning lights blinking for years. So if you've been wondering, why do I feel so heavy? Why am I always tired even when I sleep? Why does joy feel like a memory instead of a feeling? It's not you. It's what you've been carrying. It's what you've been tolerating. It's what you've been letting steal your spark while you keep telling yourself, it's fine. It's not fine. And it doesn't have to stay this way. Next chapter, we're going to rip the lazy label right off you and talk about what's actually going on. Because you're not lazy. You're leaking. And you're not broken. You're just tired of fighting battles no one sees. Let's go there next. Chapter 3. You're not lazy. You're leaking. Let me say it again, louder for the people in the back and the voices in your head. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not a failure. You're leaking. Like a cracked cup. Like a phone stuck at 17% no matter how long it charges. You ever try to fill a bucket with holes in it? Doesn't matter how much you pour in, it never stays. That's your energy. That's your motivation. That's your will to live some days. It's not that it never existed. It's that it keeps leaking out through all the tiny invisible cracks you've been too exhausted to notice. And the world, man, the world loves to call you lazy. But here's what they don't see. They don't see you scrolling for hours, not because you don't care, but because your brain is so overstimulated and undernourished that it doesn't know how to rest without a screen. They don't see the pile of laundry haunting your room like a ghost of failure. But it's not laziness, it's paralysis. They don't see you staring at your phone for 20 minutes, trying to reply to a simple text, but it feels like your fingers are made of cement. They don't see you making jokes about how dead inside you feel, because humor's the only way it doesn't swallow you whole. You're not lazy, you're tired, not sleep tired, soul tired. And there's a difference. Lazy is, I don't care. You? You care too much. About everything, about everyone, all the time. You carry guilt like it's part of your identity. You replay conversations in your head like they're crime scenes. You hold yourself to standards you wouldn't place on your worst enemy. Let me tell you a story. There was this time I hadn't left the house in 4 days. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. I had things to do, I had the time, I had the lists, but I couldn't move. Every action felt like swimming through wet cement. I kept asking myself, what's wrong with me? And the answer was this. I was drained. Not because I did nothing, but because I'd been holding in emotions for years. Trying to be okay for everyone. Trying to stay functional. Trying to keep the mask on so tight it gave me a migraine. It wasn't laziness, it was emotional debt. You can only suppress so much before your system overdrafts. And when that happens, your body pulls the emergency brake. You lose motivation, focus, joy. Even brushing your teeth feels like a TED Talk. So let's drop the shame. Let's stop calling it laziness when it's actually nervous system overload. Let's stop blaming ourselves for burning out when we were never taught how to fuel up. And here's where it hits hard. When a phone won't charge past 17%, you don't yell at the phone. You check the charger. You check the outlet. You replace the cable. But when you won't charge, you blame yourself. You call yourself weak, broken, lazy. You ever think maybe the issue isn't you, but the damn charger? The inputs you've been feeding yourself? We live in a world that celebrates output but forgets input. Post the thing, build the brand, hustle harder. Meanwhile, Your soul is sitting in the corner like, hey, maybe we could go outside, like touch a leaf, remember joy? And you're like, shut up, I have emails. You see the problem? You're bleeding energy every day trying to function in a system that only values what you produce. And the worst part? You start believing it. You start equating your worth with your productivity. You start thinking rest is earned, that doing nothing is failure. But here's the truth you need to hear. Rest is not a reward. Rest is a requirement, especially when your soul has been running a marathon in silence. So what do? We stop blaming ourselves for the fatigue. We stop calling it a flaw. We get curious instead. Where am I leaking? What am I giving energy to that gives nothing back? What am I holding in that's eating me alive? What story am I telling myself that keeps me stuck in guilt instead of grace? Because if you've been stuck, paralyzed, numb, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're exhausted from being strong in ways no one ever thanked you for. And I see you, still showing up, still trying, still breathing through it. That's not laziness. That's resilience in its rawest, most beautiful form. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about the things you think are helping, but are actually draining you even more. The little coping mechanisms that feel like safety but are really slow poison. Because healing starts with seeing, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. We're just getting started. Chapter 4. What you think helps actually hurts. All right, time to talk about the sneaky stuff. The fake helpers, the things you swear are helping you cope, but they're actually making things worse. And look, I'm not judging. I've done every single one of these. Hell, I've defended them. These are my survival tools, I'd say, while slowly losing my mind and wondering why my soul felt like a withered houseplant. Let's start with the first lie. 1. Doom scrolling is not rest. I know, you're lying in bed, you're winding down. The lights are off, your phone screen is lighting up your face like a horror movie. One more video, one more tweet, one more 5-minute rabbit hole on why the earth is doomed, the economy is crumbling, and someone from middle school just got married again. And it feels like rest because your body's still. But your brain? Your brain is sprinting like it's being chased through a cornfield at midnight. Your nervous system is fried. You're stimulating the same fight or flight circuits your ancestors used when they were running from actual bears. Only now the bear's a Reddit thread about microplastics. And then you wonder why you wake up exhausted. It's because your body laid down, but your mind never shut up, too. Overthinking is not planning. Listen, I know what you're going to say. I'm just trying to be prepared. No, you're trying to control the future with anxiety. You're rehearsing every worst-case scenario like it's an Olympic event. You're lying awake at night, imagining conversations that haven't happened with people who aren't even thinking about you. That's not planning. That's self-torture dressed in logic. Overthinking convinces you that if you just worry enough, you'll prevent the pain. But really, you're just living the pain twice. Once in your head, and again when reality punches you, because life will punch you, babe. And all that overthinking didn't stop a damn thing. 3. Caffeine is not a substitute for sleep. I love coffee, I do. But at some point, it stops being a drink and starts being a coping mechanism for untreated burnout. You're not thriving, you're surviving on bean juice and vibes. You're not energized, you're chemically forcing your body to ignore the screams for rest. And when the crash hits, oh baby, that's not a crash. That's your soul face planting into a wall. Caffeine masks the symptoms but deepens the cause. You're not fixing your fatigue, you're throwing an espresso blanket over it and hoping it shuts up. 4. Numbing is not healing. Let's get real. You think because you're not crying anymore, you're better. But not crying doesn't mean healed. It means numb. It means emotionally sedated. And we numb in so many ways. Social media, snacking when we're not hungry, binge watching until we forget what silence sounds like, joking about our pain so no one asks if we're okay, always being busy so we never have to sit still with ourselves. But numbing isn't rest. It's emotional avoidance with good branding. And healing requires feeling, even the messy, ugly, inconvenient stuff, especially that. 5. Staying positive is not always healthy. I swear, if one more person tells you to just stay positive while your world's on fire, the toxic positivity is one of the biggest energy drainers out there. You're allowed to feel your sadness. You're allowed to be angry, confused, hopeless. Slapping a smile on a breakdown doesn't make it go away. It buries it. And buried emotions don't die. They ferment. They grow teeth. They come back at 3 a.m. when you least expect it. You can't manifest peace while gaslighting your pain. Real healing starts with honesty. I'm not okay right now, and that's okay. Look, none of this makes you weak. It makes you human. You picked up these habits because they worked. At some point, they helped. They got you through trauma, stress, heartbreak, chaos. But now they're holding you underwater. You're not broken for doing them, but you will stay stuck if you keep pretending they're saving you. So what do? You stop lying to yourself about what's helping. You get honest, gritty honest. You ask, does this actually recharge me? Or does it just keep me numb long enough to survive another day I'm not living? Because there's a difference between comfort and coping. And the line between the two, that's where your healing begins. Next chapter, we're going to talk about how to actually reclaim your energy without going full spiritual monk in the Himalayas. Real life tools, messy life strategies, Because the goal isn't perfection, the goal is to stop leaking. Start living. Let's go there next. Chapter 5. How to reclaim your energy without becoming a monk. All right, so now that we've dragged your energy drainers out into the light and called them out like a late night roast session, what now? What the hell do you actually do about it? Without quitting your job, deleting the internet, and moving to the mountains to find yourself with a smoothie bowl and a goat named Kevin? You don't need a spiritual awakening. You need boundaries, baby. Not the sexy kind you post on Instagram once and ignore. I'm talking boring, awkward, sometimes guilt-ridden boundaries that feel weird at first but taste like peace once they settle. Let's start with one of the most radical, revolutionary, anxiety-inducing moves you can make. 1. Say no without explaining yourself. Oh, I know. Your people pleaser just burst into flames. But listen, no is a complete sentence. Not no, but maybe later. Not no unless you really need me. Not no, I'm so sorry, I feel terrible. Here's a coupon for my soul. Just no. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you are robbing future you. That version of you who finally wanted a night to breathe, to sit on the couch and do nothing without guilt nibbling on your ankles. 2. Protect your mornings like your sanity depends on it, because it does. The first thing you touch in the morning should not be your phone. If the first thing you do is see 17 notifications, 3 missed calls, 2 world tragedies, and 1 shirtless influencer who woke up at 5 a.m. and ran a marathon before you opened your eyes, guess what? Your day is already hijacked. Give yourself 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. No screens, no noise, stretch. Stare out a window like a confused raccoon. Breathe. Let your brain boot up without a flood of cortisol and comparison. You wouldn't open 20 browser tabs on a computer from 2000 and expect it to function. Stop doing that to your mind. Unfollow, mute, leave the damn group chat. If it drains you, you don't owe it your presence. If it makes you feel small, anxious, or invisible, you don't have to keep looking. That influencer you follow just to stay inspired? If you feel like garbage every time you see their face, that's not inspiration. That's self-punishment with a filter. You are allowed to curate your digital space like your sanity depends on it. Because again, it does. Leave the group chat. Mute the cousin who's always just asking questions. Unfollow the trainer with 12-pack abs and 0 personality. Your peace, their ego. Make rest non-negotiable. Not Netflix and scroll rest. I'm talking real, soul-repairing, guilt-free, grown-ass rest. Lying in bed, eyes closed, phone off, staring at the ceiling like it owes you money, or going on a slow walk with no goal, or sitting in silence and not immediately filling it. Here's the deal. If you don't make rest sacred, the world will treat your energy like an open buffet. Everyone will pile on until there's nothing left but your bones and a to-do list. So build rest into your schedule like it's a meeting with someone important. Because it is. It's a meeting with you. 5. Get 1 square inch of control. Not everything has to change overnight. You don't need to fix your whole life today. You just need 1 square inch. Tidy 1 corner of your room. Say no to 1 thing this week. Choose water instead of your 3rd coffee just once. Delete 1 app that makes you feel like trash. Text 1 person honestly. Hey, I'm going through a lot right now. Healing doesn't happen with a firework. It happens in quiet, tiny moments where you choose yourself. 6. Practice the discomfort of disappointing people and survive it. Newsflash. You will disappoint people when you protect your peace. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're selfish. They'll say you're distant. Let them. You are not their emotional support animal. You are not a vending machine for yeses. You're allowed to grow out of dynamics that once felt safe but are now cages. The people who truly love you, they'll understand, or at least they'll try to. The ones who only like the exhausted, people-pleasing version of you, they'll fall away. And I promise, that's a blessing dressed as heartbreak. 7. Let boring be your best friend. Peace is not glamorous. It doesn't look like yoga on a beach with a smoothie and a mason jar. Sometimes peace is a night with no plans, a fridge with food, a phone on do not disturb, an 8:30 p.m. bedtime. No drama, no chaos, no noise, just you, safe in your own presence. That's not boring. That's healing. And I know part of you might be scared because who are you if you're not always rushing, fixing, pleasing, performing? If you're not being everything for everyone, who's left? You. That's who. The real you. The one who deserves space and softness and silence, not just survival. We're almost there. Next chapter, we tie this whole thing together, and it's going to be the one that hits hardest, the one that reminds you that you're not broken, you're just overstimulated. And once you remember who you are beneath all the noise, everything changes. Let's bring it home. Chapter 6. You are not broken. You are overstimulated. You are not broken. Read that again. Say it out loud if you need to. Whisper it to the version of you curled up in bed at 2:43 a.m., staring at the ceiling, thinking it's just you. You are not broken. You are overstimulated. There is a massive difference. Broken implies something is wrong with you, something defective, something unfixable. But overstimulated, that just means too much. Too much noise, too much pressure, too many tabs open in your brain and your soul, too many shoulds, too many voices, not enough silence, too many opinions, not enough truth, too many tasks, not enough breath. You were never meant to live like this. None of us were. You weren't designed to consume more information before breakfast than your ancestors did in a year. You weren't built to have your nervous system hijacked by every headline, notification, and group chat before your feet even hit the floor. You weren't meant to be on 24/7, available, responsive, efficient, impressive, all the time. But we live in a world that treats stillness like failure, that rewards burnout and calls it ambition. That tells you to hustle while your body is screaming for rest. That tells you to keep up or get left behind while you're quietly falling apart behind the scenes. So you push. You keep smiling. You say, I'm fine, with a tight throat and tired eyes. You do what it takes. You perform okayness so well you forget what real okay even feels like. And when your body finally says, no more, you think you are the problem. No, the problem is a world that rewards overstimulation and punishes softness, that applauds the burnout and mocks the boundary. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are not failing because your brain is tired. You are not crazy for needing quiet. You're just a human being, with a nervous system that wasn't made for this pace, with a heart that wasn't made for constant performance, with a soul that's been begging for stillness and being ignored. And here's the thing. Healing doesn't mean you stop being sensitive. It means you start listening to that sensitivity like it's sacred. Because it is. Your exhaustion is wisdom. It's information. It's your body saying, we can't live like this anymore. It's your soul saying, there's something better. Not more productive, not more impressive, just more true. And that truth, it's been there the whole time, buried under the noise. It's the part of you that still loves silence, still dreams when no one's watching, still feels awe when the world slows down long enough to breathe, still remembers how good it felt the last time you laughed without overthinking it. It's the part of you that's still you. So take this in, because I swear it's the most important thing I'll say. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to be found. Underneath the noise, underneath the fear, underneath the endless pressure to be more when who you are is already so much. It's time to stop performing, stop comparing, stop numbing, stop leaking your energy to things that don't even see you, and start returning to yourself, to peace, to the kind of life that feels like home in your own body. That starts now. Not after the perfect morning routine, not after you get your life together, not after you lose 10 pounds or get promoted or heal all your trauma in a spreadsheet. Right now, with one breath, with one no, with one decision to let go of who the world told you to be and get curious about who you actually are. Because you are not broken, you are sacred, you are soft, you are wired for depth, and you are allowed to live a life that honors that. So here's what I want you to do after this. Send this to 3 people you love. The ones who are tired but pretend they're fine, the ones who always say, I'm good, with a smile that doesn't reach their eyes. The ones you know are leaking energy just like you've been. Let's remind each other what it feels like to breathe again. Because we're not here to survive this life.